Indulge me in this for a second, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
When y'all were kids,
Yes.
and something didn't go your way,
Yes.
the littlest thing,
Right. Someone took my toy.
yeah,
My mom grounded
Damn
me.
it.
Something like that. Right.
Just when I got NHL 2003 back, I just got it taken away the next day.
Has that
type
ever
of-
happened to you?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
the littlest thing can cause the biggest of blow-ups.
Yeah, as a kid,
Yep.
sure.
Yeah. But as a multi-millionaire,
20.
to have a blow up
Three.
on national television over a simple flip of the puck seems a little excessive, if you ask me. I don't know. I just think it's
So here's the thing: is like, if I'm Matt Tkachuk, because I put that in the group chat yesterday too. I'm like, man, Matt Tkachuk's a bitch. But then everyone's like, just put yourself in that situation. You do the same thing. I'm like, no, I would do what he did to Jake Muzzin. I'd be pissed. I'd go after Jake Muzzin. Yeah, scummy move a little bit. I don't disagree. But everything that happened after, you look like a little bitch.
Hey,
You just
little
look like
Chucky
a
Jr.
child.
Yeah,
Hey, Chucky
like,
Jr. You gonna cry?
Like, dude, he's sitting there slamming the door, not letting Gio in. He's throwing
Right.
bottles
Every
around,
water
like,
bottles,
like
yeah.
what are
Think
you
your captain's
doing?
behind you.
Like, man, like I get going after Muzzin. I would have went after Muzzin too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That I have no problem with that. He kind of deserved it. But like, he kind of deserved to get the puck shot at him too. So I don't feel bad about that either.
I love players like Matthew Tkachuk. Like if
Yeah.
Brad Marchand was on my team, I would cheer like hell for him. Nazem Kadri was on the Leafs for all those years. I cheered
See-
like hell for him. Matthew Tkachuk is a shit disturber, absolutely, but he's a great player. But if you play on that line, you have to be able to deal with the shit that you give when someone else gives it to you. It's
The thing-
ridiculous.
The thing for me is like the Tkachuks are a completely different breed of shit disturber. Because like nobody likes Brad Marchand, but Brad Marchand's not that guy that comes after the whistle after a game
an
and like
unreal
starts shooting
player,
you.
yeah.
Like he can back it up and do that stuff too. But like even Nas wasn't that like dirty player where he'd come after the whistle and just give that extra shot because he could, or he'd spear you from the bench like he did to Matt Martin a couple years ago when he was on the Leafs. Like they don't do that type of shit. Brad Marchand definitely doesn't anymore. He's a completely different player. But like both the Tkachuks do the same shit where it's just like they have
shitheads.
to go that extra mile to be that piece of shit. Like game one, when the game ends on two separate faceoffs because the one got pulled back and they had to do it again. But he skates into the draw and he gives a shot to Tavares after he loses the first one. Then he comes in and does the exact same thing. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? The game's over. That you don't need to do that. And then he deserved a puck to the chest. Probably should have shot it a little harder. But
Did you
Maybe a
guys see
little.
the John Boy breakdown of it?
hilarious.
Great.
Hilarious.
Fantastic.
Also, the Leafs have made it to John Boy.
Yeah.
We're going places.
Yeah. We've transcended the news at this point. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the most publicity the NHL will get all season, basically.
Mhm.
And this is after, like, we didn't even mention to the fact that this is after Tkachuk was a bitch in front of the net to Jack Campbell.
Jack Campbell.
See, and like on that one, I understand people defending him because it is a scrum in front of the net, and like, yes, he was pushed a little bit. Obviously, he didn't need to do the super knee drop that he pulled. Like that's scummy. And if it's any other player, you're probably not questioning it. But it's a Tkachuk, so you kind of like, there's enough accidentally on purpose things that he's done in his career that you're kind of like, yeah, he didn't.
His
just
reputation
get pushed
precedes
in.
him.
Exactly.
It's come to that point where anything questionable that has his name attached to it, it just comes with the territory, and he's got to understand that. And even just from, I forget which one of the analysts on Twitter said it, but it's like it comes down to like a respect standpoint, and a lot of players in the league just don't have that respect for him.
No.
Like you look at his resume in terms of questionable things he's done and things that go the whole extracurricular after the whistle, that kind of stuff. You know, it just keeps mounting and mounting. And when, you know, the slightest thing, like the flip of a puck from Jake Muzzin goes back at him, look at what happened. And I think this just
He loses his
further,
goddamn mind.
yeah, just furthered whatever hatred there was towards him from just the league standpoint, not even just what we've seen on Twitter, because it's been hilarious.
Yep.
Was it last season that there was the whole thing with him and Drew Doughty? Was it the season before?
Both years.
Like,
They did it both years.
last year was Cassian. And Cassian, I remember meeting him. I remember meeting him about it.
It was Tkachuk at the beginning of the year too. It wasn't even, or sorry, it was Doughty at the beginning of the year too. Like it both happened last year. Like they met in the beginning of the year and had the same issues, and then the Cashin shit happened too.
He's an unbelievable
just one player. Like I get it, but he's got to pick a fight picked with a lot of people, and I mean, comes with the territory after.
We didn't even mention the Mark Scheifele thing last year, where he accidentally on purpose caught him in the Achilles with his skate, ended his playoff run. Like there's just all these little things that are just like, at some point they're not an accident.
They're not an accident because it's the way that you're playing, causing injury to others.
Yeah.
Like,
also he's not playing all that well this year. He's got 4 points, one more than Jimmy Vesey. Just saying.
He was.
I think Matthew Tkachuk is a great player, and everything that he brings to the ice, you just got to be able to handle it correctly. Like, you can't give it and then not be able to take it. That's a bitch ass move.
He has a scoring ability that is, above par than compared to the rest of the league. And he brings that tenacity that's a very, very dying breed in the NHL. It's just he's got to keep his emotions in check when it comes back at him. Yeah, like if he's going to dish it out, you got to be able to take it in. It's the simple rule.
For sure.
And it was hilarious to see him just completely bitch out yesterday. I could not stop laughing. So,
the Leafs are currently the best team in the NHL.
A lot more games than a lot of teams, but
we
won't mention that.
No.
They look great. That first period against Calgary is the best period I've seen them play since Austin Matthews got drafted.
The immaculate period, yeah.
Was it one shot or no
one shot?
They gave up one
in the entire period. And it was like a tip that Freddie reached out and blockered into the corner. It wasn't even going on.
So it wasn't even going on net.
No. Yeah. It was great.
Surprisingly, analytically, the pairing of Riley and Brody haven't been great.
Doesn't surprise me. They're interesting in their own end, if I can say the least. They turn the puck over a lot because they try and do a lot. But I haven't had a lot of complaints about them. Like I think they're a net positive.
It's still not standing out to you.
No.
Right.
I think I think overall they're a net positive. It's not like this is the best pairing in the NHL, but they're still good. They do really good things offensively, and they survive in their own end. I think that's fine because I think your other two pairings right now are pretty good. Don't have a lot of complaints about them when Dermott's out of it.
Because right now, analytically, Muzzin Hall is as good of a pairing as you're going to get right now.
Yeah, they're good. Jake Muzzin's been incredible.
They've been playing well. Give them the credit.
Hall that much more.
It's up there with the likes of the other Jonathan Taves and Makar.
Devin Taves?
Hannafin and Tan. Or which one is it?
Devin Taves.
Devin Taves. I always think
Devon,
it's... Yeah. Is it Devon? Is it Devin?
Devon.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's Devon Taves.
Devon Taves on Colorado, yeah.
Sure, White Devon.
Yeah. It's either white. It's like to be Devon, you can be like a real rich prick. Like then you can be a Devon.
Right.
That makes sense.
I'm Devon Scheifele the third.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, that would make sense.
It would. But yeah, like right now, from what you're getting, you're paying that pairing. Muzzin's getting paid $5 million, correct? You're paying your first pair $7 million combined. You're laughing.
They've been good. I don't like a lot of Justin Hall's game in his own end, but having Muzzin there with him makes it his errors are minimized because Muzzin does such a great job. And then Hall's been surprisingly good in the offensive end. Like
did you see that play that he made yesterday where he was taking it out of his ozone and then he caught
stopped on a button, like he did a nice button turn right at the I've been the biggest one. Look, I'll come clean here. I've been the biggest one to bash Justin Hall, and look, I stand by it in terms of his defensive play in his own zone. It could be better, But again, playing with Muzzin, it's been mass, so I can't complain about that.
No,
his offensive game, it's been terrific.
Crazy.
He's getting points. He's got 5 and 8 games or something. It's crazy. And
6 now, no?
The skating ability that I really bashed him for in the playoffs, I don't see it, so I can't complain. And again, like it was just a very smart play of him to throw the puck the way he did towards the net. Simmons gets the tap in and gets his own rebound, and you're up 1. Like, I mean, it's just a smart play.
You don't have to make the most ridiculous play.
Yeah,
you don't have to make a ridiculous play.
No, but you saw it on that goal too. Is like he wasn't trying to get that shot on net to score. He knew that he couldn't score from that angle, so he throws one low pad, and there's Wayne Simmons crashing the net because he's there. He makes that smart play off the pad, and he gives Simmons a goal. Like he's looked good.
He's the best.
I'm with Morrow. I bash him a lot.
We have on our team
because we don't have many. But yes, you're not wrong.
Like,
our first pairing guy's left-handed.
He's playing better than Brody is though right now. Like I don't even think it's quite because the thing is Hall's playing PK1. He's playing first pairing minutes regardless of what they throw out there as the first pair during the night. It's going the ice time in the game is going Muzzin, Riley because of the power play, and then it's going Hall because he's been good. Like I want a defenseman that like I don't notice, and Hall, it's a lot of the game. It is that, and maybe there's once a game where you do notice them and it's in a scoring chance, or they do score. But like but it's every defense.
The rest of the game is fine.
Every defenseman basically.
You can't pick apart every mistake he ever makes. Like you're gonna go nuts doing it with any D-man, right? Like even last night there was the goal where Hall for some reason is trying to play goalie, and I don't really know why. Like give Freddie a chance there. But like that's one thing in a long ass game where he really did nothing else wrong the rest of the game, and it's fine.
Like the one knock I have on him is just look, he's got a big frame. He's 6'4", 205. I'd pray and I hope just to see him. And that's the thing. He doesn't put like I'd love to see him win a board battle in the defensive end. I've yet to see it. Yeah, that's my only knock because and that's the thing. The offense has has like cut that. You know, it's a wash at that point. The offensive production you're getting from him is minimizing my unliking of him in his own end. So for me, I can't
he also doesn't have to be the hard-nosed D-man on that pair.
No, because they have noted puck shooter at other
Justin
Hall.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just like how this team is looking right now. I really do. Even with the lack of depth that they have, because of the injuries to Joe Thornton and Nick Robertson,
that lack of depth scored last night.
Yeah, because like the thing I was telling you guys when they signed Travis Boyd, his analytical numbers were really good, and then Dom Decisions was going nuts when he scored because it's like the numbers were right, baby.
Now they weren't good a lot of that game. No, they were hemmed. It seemed like every time they were on the ice, they were hemmed in their end. Maybe the numbers will tell me otherwise, but like every time they seemed to get on, the rush went the other way, and it was back in our end. Like they were limited in the first, like they didn't play a ton, and then they played a lot in the second, and that was when the puck was mostly in Toronto's end, and it just kind of felt like there's better options. But that goal they scored was beautiful. Pierre Engvall had a terrible pass that Travis Boyd made a great play with his foot, kicked it up to his stick, and roofed it just like in half a second. It was a great play. They look fine in the offensive end. They just didn't get there very much. Was
the knock I had on again, you get any scoring from your fourth line, I can't complain.
Nope.
But they did get the shift close to the end of the game there, where to the point of they were getting hemmed in. Joey Anderson flips the puck out, unlucky break because the puck was on a roll, and he tries to just clear the zone. He made a very, very good block of the shot from the point, and as he tries to clear it, it nicked its way up. And that was, and it was like 3 minutes left. So, that could have, and that's the thing. Like that could have set the game right into Calgary's favor with 2 minutes to the last 2 minutes, and they tie the game and take it in OT. You know, fortunate that they were able to kill the penalty. So,
but on that, in the Leafs' defense, their penalty kill has been great this year. They're locking down everything for the most part. Like I'm not all that worried when we take a penalty because they have so many options on the PK, and they're all doing well right now. It's crazy.
Speaking of penalty kill and one of the guys that's on it, Ilya Mikheyev is the most tantalizing player in the Leafs because the skills is there. Like
the skating abilities is there. He's an incredible skater.
He should play exclusively on the penalty kill because of the amount of chances he creates. He never finishes them, but he does not finish them, but he creates a shit ton.
He has concrete hands, dude. It's terrible. He doesn't know how to shoot the puck for some reason. It's constantly in the crest every time. And if you watch, you'll see it. And I'm starting to just lose my mind watching him play. But he's so good at getting the puck.
Yeah.
So like,
but then the play dies on a stick on the other end, so it doesn't really make a difference.
So it's one of those things where the hell do you play him in the lineup? Because I can listen to the argument of putting him in like the top two lines. I can listen to it, especially with the depth issues at this point.
Sure.
But also like, if he's not finishing the play, what is he providing on the ice? Ability to take the puck away, so he's just Zach Hyman, basically.
Yeah, but at least Zach Hyman can kind of move the puck to Marner, who can do something with it.
Right.
Mikheyev can't pass or shoot, and I'm like, what do you do here at that point? He's a great PK, incredible on the penalty kill. He's been so good there for us. But when he has the puck, it doesn't end in anything promising. It's just a shot to the chest and a face-off in their end. I'm like, that's great. But having him on the top six, it's like, at least, I know the argument was him over Jimmy Vesey, but at least when Jimmy Vesey gets the puck, the play doesn't die. He can get it to someone else or he can get a decent scoring chance, and it's like, it stays in the offensive end. It's not an instant face-off.
Yeah.
That's my only knock. Like, I don't see him as a top six winger on this team. I like him on the third and fourth and on the penalty kill because that's where he thrives.
Mm-hmm. According to Game Score by Dom, Justin Hall, the highest on the Leafs, the lowest on the Leafs, Brant's boyfriend,
Jimmy Vesey,
Nico Lettinen.
Oh, that's fine. He looked good though.
He was the in my opinion, he was the reason for one goal, the Lucic goal. He's the right-handed defenseman, and he's at the left wall. So
was he playing right? I'm pretty sure he was playing left all night.
Or never mind. No, but he was all the way up the left wall, and it
was a rush that he went right at a guy. He needs to learn a little bit on the difference in the KHL and the NHL. But in his defense, he clamped that guy. Like there was no play there. Right. He kind of tried to dump it into the corner. It goes off Kerfoot's foot, and now it's a 2-on-1 against Bogo. Bogo's already off on, I forget who it was. It might have been Lindholm, but Lucic wide open in front of them. Even the worst player is going to have a chance to bury that, right? It's tough. It's a shit luck play on him, but I think the rest of the game he looked good.
He was on the power play, was he not? I think he was on 51, and I really liked his game there. So
he's a surgeon on the power play. The guy's an incredible passer. He's got a cannon of a shot, which you saw last night, but Ilya Mikheyev didn't put it in his chest. Outside of that, like he looked good to me. I'd put him there over Travis Dermott strictly because he doesn't take 10 minutes behind the net to try and figure out where to pass the puck.
And then proceed to give it away. Like
exactly. Again, at least when he passes it, it doesn't go to the other team.
I can't complain about I really liked all the changes. Would I have loved to have seen Spezza in there? Yeah. But at the end of the day, Travis Boyd scored. Mikko Lettinen looks far better than what we've seen out of Dermott. And I mean, Barabanov hasn't done anything special that warrants him in the lineup for me. So I'm all for running with what they got right now.
I think sorry, go ahead.
No, go. If it's on this, go.
I think Spezza probably gets back into the lineup next game. I think it was just
probably
a typical rest day because they said it's just like, you know what, we want to give him some time off this year because he is old compared to most of the teams. So it's probably one of those things where we would have done it with Joe too. Yeah. But you give him that time off, kind of let him ease his way through the season and not be dead by the time playoffs come around.
I'm not against a guy like Boyd to where at this point he's better than Jason Spezza is defensively. You know what I mean? Like I don't need my fourth line to score goals. To where what's Jason Spezza's biggest asset right now? His passing.
Yeah,
I don't need that at this.
But he is really good on the second power play,
for sure. But I don't know if that warrants him having liability.
I wouldn't say he's a liability in his own end anymore. Like he's serviceable enough back there that playing fourth line minutes, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and like the fourth line just really didn't look that great in their own end last night, anyways. So I don't know.
I think I would ride the lineup that you had, honestly. Like
I think you kind of rotate
them out after
Anderson.
They play bad.
I think you rotate Boyd, Anderson, and Spezza. Like I think the three of them just do this little rotation thing because all three of them can play those positions. I think they'd be fine. I think you do something like that. I don't think Barabanov should slot back in for a little bit. I don't think he's that great. I think he can be eventually. He's just not at that point yet. I think he needs a little bit more development. And I don't think you should see Travis Dermott for the rest of the year, personally.
Hopefully.
But
I'm interested to see more of Joey Anderson, because if he can't do his best Zach Hyman impersonation, then that's a significant, that's a good player.
That's a perfect fourth line guy. That's what I've said Hyman is for years now.
Except he's not a fourth liner.
But he's on the first line, so.
Yeah. I think we're burying the lead here.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Marner's going to win the Rocket Richard. Prove me wrong.
It's him or McDavid. I think those are your only two options at this point.
I mean, Pacioretty and Branson are leading the league.
It's just him and McDavid. That's it.
Okay. I mean, he's there. He's first in the Art Ross. Obviously, McDavid's tied with him, but it's Connor McDavid. He's going to be there regardless. So
yeah, I gotta give it to Mitch because I have bashed on Mitch a lot. He's earning his contract, which is something I haven't said from him yet. But he's probably the best forward we have. He's top 2 forward we have right now between him and Tavares. And he's shooting the puck, and which I hated for a while, but it's going in. So if Austin Matthews isn't open, you have the shot, then take the shot, and if it works, it works. It's great.
Because there's a lot of times with Mitch, he tries to do too much, and it's a little bit of what we said with Justin Hall earlier, and that Ilya Mikheyev needs to learn. Sometimes it's just make the simple play. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to get pucks on net.
I mean, sometimes you do got to do the crossing pass and feed Matthews for a nice one. But at the end of the day, if you're alone in the slot with no other option, just fire it on net. Maybe it'll go in.
Instead of trying to dipsy doodle your way out of traffic in that situation, I don't know. Maybe shoot at the net.
There you go.
Yeah. Good things happen when you put pucks on net, man.
Sure.
I can't complain about him.
After the Leafs game, it showed the highlights of the Oilers game, and my dad doesn't watch hockey like that. He'll watch the Leafs, but that's it. Mm-hmm. And he sees McDavid skating, and he's just like, "What the fuck? Holy shit!"
It is crazy. That's the one thing. He is the most impressive thing to watch in the NHL on the offensive side of the puck. Just the way he picks up the puck and he's at the goalie in half a second. It's just like, what the fuck, man? This guy's nuts.
Insane.
The rest of his game, I'm not high on. I think McKinnon's better the rest of the game, but it's night and day difference between McKinnon and McDavid offensively.
Mm-hmm. What else do we have? Anything else on the Buds?
I don't think so. They're good.
Oh, the Leafs, I think that was it.
I think they could walk away with the North starting from this moment onwards. They're starting to look like but they're not Toronto. You look at what this team was last night, and Justin Hall said it himself, I don't think they've touched what they can be yet. And I think they can be better than that.
Not wrong.
They were great last night.
Yeah.
I think this is the type of team that you invest in at the trade deadline in terms of getting moves, and I'd be really intrigued in what they would add.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be an interesting year for the trade deadline, because if you come to Canada, you
quarantine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just you can acquire a guy and not see him for 2 weeks, and then you're a week away from playoffs at that point.
Right.
That kind of sucks. Yeah. But
that is
going to be interesting.
Give Montreal their flowers. What has you so intrigued with Nick Suzuki?
He's good. Guy can play, man. He's good defensively. He's got incredible hands offensively. He's kind of
because you were saying last week that he was the second best player in the division.
He definitely could be. He's just doing everything, man. He's taking pucks from guys in his own end. He's toe dragging guys and making them look silly on the other end. He's a great playmaker. He's a great shooter. He's really smart with the puck. He just on a team that has no other offensive weapons. All due respect to Kotkaniemi and Josh Anderson, but they're not that good offensively.
No, Josh Anderson just bangs in goals. He's not setting up the goal.
Nick Suzuki's making this whole team look like
Toffoli's.
And Toffoli's got 5 goals now because you have guys like Suzuki out there making them look like absolute studs. He's doing an incredible job, and he's easily the best player on that team. Yeah, easily the best player on that team already. And I mean, it's between him and Mitch Marner for me, just who's been the second best forward in the division so far. Because it's McDavid and then a big list. But he might be at the top of the next list.
I wonder if Montreal does something now, because they were obviously heavy in on Pierre-Luc Dubois. Mm-hmm. I guess we could talk about that next, because that trade goes down, and that's kind of insane. Because I wonder if they would have sent a guy like Philip Deneau back to Columbus in that situation. Because I think I saw the video of McKinnon on Chicklets. He was basically saying that Deneau's like the most underrated guy in the league. And it's fair because he's a two-way guy. You don't really notice him. And when we brought up their forwards and stuff, it's not. Brand kind of brushed over him. Fair.
Yeah, I never even put him in that class.
Montreal is just gonna find a way. I'm trying to compare them to it. They're kind of like Dallas from last year. Like no cap, they kind of are because they just grind out wins.
Yes, but and they don't have like that Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Alex Radulov top end that you're like, okay, I can see this. They don't have that.
I mean Gallagher's Suzuki.
Suzuki's great.
Gallagher's,
but I don't think you can compare Dano and Seguin. But I mean, yeah, like
was Seguin that good last year though?
No, he was terrible last year.
That's what I mean.
But like they still have that you need to watch out for if you're other teams. And then the back end in Dallas is significantly better than what Montreal's is.
The goalie though.
Right now,
I mean, look at Hudobin's numbers. No, but even look at Hudobin's numbers. He's at like a .99 goals against.
Yeah, and Carey Price really hasn't been great. As everyone's talking about this team, is like, oh, they got the goaltending. They should be good. Their goaltending is the worst part of their game right now. Carey Price hasn't been good, and your backup's Jake Allen. I don't have a lot of faith in Jake Allen.
Well, wasn't Jake Allen a stud last year?
Yeah, he was a couple. He has one good year in the past 5.
Basically.
Yeah. But
and then Montreal throws a third at him after being dog shit.
But he has been better than Carey Price for them this year. I mean, to give him his due.
I just think Montreal's a team that you don't want to face in the playoffs, like at all.
I don't think they end up this high in the standings. I think Vancouver, I don't know what's going on in Vancouver, but they're better than what they've been so far. I think Edmonton's better than what they've been so far. Calgary doesn't have the games played right now, and Winnipeg's look great. So I think eventually this evens out a bit, and I don't think they finished second, but they could definitely squeeze their way into the playoffs, and they're not a fun team to play against. You're right. They're a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And they have guys that can do all parts of the game.
Okay, let's talk about the PLD and Line A trade. Because, like, this is the closest we'll get to an NBA trade, if we're being honest. It's the biggest trade since Hall for
Larson.
Yeah.
And then
or Subban for Weber
wasn't even. Yeah, I think Subban for Weber is a closer comparison.
Yeah,
because like Larson sucks.
You rarely
in
see
terms of player for
star for you rarely see the star for star anymore, especially with the cap constraints and everything. It's very, very hard to come by. So
I don't know what to think,
especially mid-season too.
I hate the trade. I don't think it makes sense for either team. It doesn't make sense to
me.
I don't like. You're getting rid of. Like, you don't really need Pierre-Luc Dubois in Winnipeg. You need a guy like Patrick Laine because he was incredible on their power play, and they've struggled on the power play ever since he went down. And he single-handedly won them that first game when he had the hat trick, and he just dominated. And he looked good in the back end last year and this year to start. And you're just bringing in Pierre-Luc Dubois, who has not a lot of offensive upside.
But you figure if you're Winnipeg on the wing, there's 3 wingers that you trust more defensively than Laine. In Wheeler, Connor, and Ehlers, I think.
I don't think Connor's.
And then Kopp's been good this year, right?
And Ehlers, I don't quote me on this, but I don't think they have the best defensive metrics.
I swear Connor plays on the PK. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure.
Ehlers, I'm pretty sure is not, but
yeah, probably not. But
I trust their skating ability over Laine though, and I think that in itself, just as a work rate, I'd take that.
And both of them have kind of worn out their welcome in both situations.
In both situations, yeah.
Like Dubois was being a dick in Columbus. Like he was
being a child that whole time.
Yeah.
And Laine, that's all he knows. Except like I respect Laine for going about like his business, and he was a rock star this year. Like to start,
he had the best season of his career, I'd say last year. Like overall game was his best season of his career last year. And he started off on the same pace this year in that game that he played. And like, he wasn't out there being a bitch about things. He went out and played his game. He's like, I don't want to be here, but I'm going to help this team win. Pierre-Luc Dubois is just like, I'm not playing.
It's the complete wrong way to go.
And he still won't say why. which is kind of annoying. And like everybody knows it's Torts, but he's like, oh no, I like Torts. He's a coach. It's like, shut up, man. Just admit it. It's brutal. But on the other side of things, like what does Columbus need Patrik Laine for? Like they need scoring, okay. But like, is that enough? Like I would have rather got a lot of pieces back for Pierre-Luc
They could use a number one center.
Yeah, that ain't Patrik Laine.
They just
what do you mean? You telling me Max Domi isn't a number one center?
Oh man.
It's just
Has he even gotten a point this year?
I don't think so.
I don't think he has a goal for sure. I think he has a point or two, but it's not.
I mean,
it doesn't the trade's weird.
I get it in the sense that it's a city that has not really got goal scoring since Panarin left, and you bring in a natural goal scorer who's just a very talented player, and he'll fill seats when you're allowed to have people in the stadium again. But
maybe they like Roslovic. Like
maybe that's the piece.
He's a Columbus guy. Actually, I was listening to the game on the week. I was watching the game on the weekend, and on the broadcast they were saying, "Oh, happy to have noted community boy back in Columbus." So I think they were really high on him as well.
Roslovic was a center, right? But he was playing on the wing. Or if he can be their second line center, and then you have Laine on the wing, the biggest key is will Laine play for Torts? Like, how long does that take for it to go wrong?
I don't think either guy lasts past their entry levels.
Will Dubois play for Paul Maurice? It's the same. I don't.
Dubois want to stay in Winnipeg.
Who the fuck wants to stay in Winnipeg?
His dad's an assistant for the Moose.
Sure, that doesn't mean he wants to live in Winnipeg.
I mean, his parents are there.
I want to go play for a big market team. Gets traded to Winnipeg.
Traded to Winnipeg.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I forget who tweeted this out, but someone was saying for two guys that didn't like where they were situated, one of them got traded to Canada's Columbus, and the other one got traded to America's Winnipeg.
Yeah,
like it was the exact same thing. They're both not great cities, and there's better places for both of them. I would be shocked if they're not both somewhere else.
In Columbus, you're always the second biggest thing in town because Ohio State's always going to trump you. And then in Winnipeg, you're in Las Vegas. Congratulations!
You don't even have an airport. That's the worst part is they don't even have an airport to fly into there. Like what would leave you there? It doesn't make sense. They'll be gone.
Trade David Savard to the Leafs though. Columbus, please. Trade David Savard to the Leafs.
Do we need him? We got Justin Hall.
Yeah.
Who? I don't think the defense needs help yet. Maybe later.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not
yet is the operative. That's
why I said it. That's why I said it.
Mackenzie Weegar, who?
No.
Bro, remember the hard on I had for him? God damn.
I don't get it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm glad we didn't give up the farm for him. Do you want to talk about Jim Rutherford? It's not huge, but
that was weird. Yeah.
I know it's a personal reason, so I don't want to bash him too much. There could be a lot going on there, and if so, sorry for what I'm about to say, but he just royally fucked that team before taking off.
Why?
Because everything he did in his last year and a half was like, what in the fuck are you doing? Gave a bad contract left and right, made terrible trades left and right, and then he's like, okay, thanks guys, and took off. Left them with nothing. They have no farm system. They have Sid and Malkin and Gensel under a good contract.
He's a GM that loves going for it. So I mean, it's in line with what he's always known to do. And it's going to leave them crippled for the next couple of years because you literally have 4 30-plus-year-olds, and then he kind of dipped. So whatever reasoning he has, I'm sure he has a valid one. But
it's a tough situation. That's what they were saying on Tim and Sid today. Was that Jim Rutherford? He's like Jerry Jones. He wants to win. He wants to go for it. He's like insert random at least he tried.
He won 2 cups.
He did something. No, but my thing is, he always did something.
Yeah.
He wasn't just going to stand by. It might not have always worked, but he did something.
Yeah.
Which at least
you bring in Zucker, you bring in Kapanen, you bring in he's done his fair share of roster additions to try and help Crosby and Malkin in their pursuit of the cup. I mean, they've already won 2. As soon as the 2017 one passes, I mean, there was already a lot of talk of how many guys are they going to be able to keep. Murray's gone a couple of years later. Like it's like Chicago from years back where it's so hard to retain everybody.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys follow Pittsburgh on any social media.
No.
He's not welcome.
No, I know.
They hate him there right now. And I don't think anyone's too upset about it because like a lot of the moves he's made has not made people very happy in Pittsburgh. Which is what I'm saying is he's left it like this offseason, he was getting ripped apart for the Kapanen deal, for the Hornquist deal. There's a couple others that he made too. I think they bought out Jack Johnson, did they not?
Yeah.
They signed Cody Ceci.
They signed Cody Ceci.
It was on their second pair.
Just
right
a
now.
lot of moves
at
that
5.5. Marcus
very
Pettersson at $4 million.
Yeah.
They let go of Matt Murray, and Tristan Jarry has not looked very good this year. It's just been a tailspin of.
Casey DeSmith was good though.
Yeah,
they went on a 4-game winning streak. They've been okay this year. They've been okay.
But Malkin hasn't been. Malkin has what, 1 goal in the season, or he hasn't been good. Yeah,
no,
he's been dog shit.
Lucky they brought in a top 6 forward from the Leafs.
Yeah, because very Kapanen.
In fairness, he didn't play for 3 games. Because he was dealing with visa. And then he came back and they won 4 straight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he scored a goal on the 4th line, Kapanen, I think. I remember seeing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't...
Yeah, Gino's got 3 points in 7.
Pittsburgh will go as far as Malkin and Crosby take him. It's that simple.
Yep.
They don't have great players around them, but, like, they've got a good top 6 because of the 2 centers. And any other top 6, if Gensel's my best winger, I don't feel great. Brian Rust is my first line right winger. I don't feel great. Those are 2 solid players, but ideally they'd be second liners. But they're playing with Crosby.
Gensel's pretty good.
Gensel's good.
Yeah. Brian Rust, though, I agree. He's not a top 6 on a lot of teams.
No.
But he's been great. He was a point per game guy last
he is.
He was a point per game last season.
But how much is that? Is that because of Crosby, and how much is it because
they have a top 10 player of all time and the 101st best player of all time. So those 2 guys are helping that team.
Literally. You name anybody on Connor McDavid's wing, he's more than likely a 3rd liner anybody. I mean, Nugent's a first overall pick, but Zach Kassian, well, he's 3rd or 4th line.
He's not a top line guy, but he makes him look like a top guy.
Yeah.
It's incredible. The teams can't surround guys with talent. Like, I look at a team like Florida, they just like, oh, we'll play Anthony Duclair, what, 1.2 million or 2 million for a season. He's on the first line with Barkov. Like, it's not that hard to find guys to play big minutes.
To play with talent. It's not hard.
Jim Rutherford just loved throwing 1st-round picks everywhere he could. Zucker, Kapanen in years past. Like, he's always had the mentality of going for it, and I'm sure that's why he gets ripped for it.
They brought in Jerome Iginla at one point.
Team.
Iginla, Morrow in the same year.
Yeah.
They won the cup once Iginla left, I think. Right?
Yeah, they did that run in like 2013 with Iginla and...
Like, if you're Jim Rutherford, maybe don't spend a 1st-round pick on Kasperi Kapanen. Maybe sign, I don't know, Hoffman or Duclair that signed for nothing.
He made mistakes. And I think that's why they're not too upset about it. But I hope nothing's too serious with him.
As an outside fan, you can appreciate your team at least trying.
Yeah, you did something.
Yeah. Didn't work.
It's more than a lot of teams can.
They won 2 cups. It worked.
You have more cups in the past 5 years than we have in 60.
Yeah.
It's the first team in this decade, in this era of hockey, to win back-to-back cups. You don't see it, like, ever. So
no.
So to say that it was a bad experience is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's not unliked. He did his job.
He got you guys 3 cups.
Yeah. You need a top 6 defenseman in Ron Hainsey. He brought him in. Like, what do you want from the guy?
Top 6, top 2.
He was their top pairing guy in that year.
He was.
Yeah, yikes. He was like their top power play guy too at one point. That was just
incredible.
He was.
But he scored a huge goal for them when they won the cup. So can't complain.
Sorry, just to go back to the line trade. Who do you guys think won the trade?
Tie.
I don't even know.
Say it was a tie. Like, I don't know.
Can I abstain? Yeah.
I would lean towards Columbus only because they can have Laine in the lineup quicker than Winnipeg can have Dubois.
See here, like I don't think either of these guys stay for anywhere past their ELCs or
No,
their
that's what I'm
their
saying.
bridge deals rather. So
Yeah.
again, this could be one of those wait and see. But I think Dubois brings a little bit more as a complete player right now than what Laine has. So in the immediate, I'd take Dubois.
Well,
But I think
you can always flip
Laine
Laine
in his hotel room for.
Yeah, Laine's got a better ceiling, I think.
What if Roslovic works out and then you can if Laine doesn't, you can always flip Laine.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of teams that want
some
that
team at the deadline would pay 2 first-round picks for Laine.
Yeah.
That's not asinine to say.
Nobody can afford them right now because everybody's at the cap ceiling. But next year,
right?
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
if
it's a throw your hands up.
If Laine plays before Dubois gets off of COVID list, then I will say Columbus won the deal. If not, it's a tie.
If both players are at their best, Columbus wins the trade.
I think so. You've got a 50-goal scorer.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it still doesn't make sense to me.
No, I don't get it.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Do you want to talk about the Stars?
If you guys wanted.
I mean,
shout out Joe Pavelski. That guy's had the hottest start of anybody.
They're perfect 3-0.
I mean, the perfect team left, are they not? Did Florida win last night?
I mean, them in Florida, like, they weren't playing for the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a small sample size, but like they're playing at the level they were that made them to the Cup final. So I mean, credit to them
at all last year. They haven't lost it.
And that's the thing. Like they're missing Bishop, they're missing Ben, they're missing Sagan. 3 of their best players, and they've won 3-0. Again,
Stars and Panthers are still undefeated. 3-0.
Like it's tough to judge right now, at least for me, because I mean, Klingberg's played some of his best hockey since before Heiskanen came in. He was the PP1 guy, and he was putting up points. He looks to be back at that level, so that's a good sign. Hintz has provided scoring. Pavelski's playing out of his mind. A little bit early for me just to see what they are, especially I'm sure when they get Ben back in the lineup and Bishop as well. Goaltending's been unreal despite Bishop.
How many teams make the playoffs in the division? 4?
4 in each division.
This one's interesting, at least, because you got the Blue Jackets are on top. Okay, so if you go Lightning, that's a lock. Hurricanes are at the bottom of the division with only 4 points.
Yeah, they're not. They haven't played. They're getting.
They haven't played. So fair.
Right and center.
So I would say Lightning, Hurricanes, Stars, and then you have the Blue Jackets, Panthers duking it out for the 5th spot. Because I don't think the Predators are making it.
The Blue Jackets are first in the division with, a
7
negative
points.
record. Like they're 2-2-3.
3 overtime losses.
It's still so early.
Yeah.
But it's unique
too
for
early
this
to say on
division.
a lot of teams right now.
But just this division specifically, just because of the amount of postponed games, it's tough to judge. But I mean, at 3-0, Dallas looks good.
Yeah. You got 4 teams that have played less than 4 games. 4 games or less.
They've had a hot start without some big names, and shout out to them for it.
Who, the Stars?
Mm-hmm.
You picked them to what?
No, I picked up Pavelski in our pool.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, so that's why I'm losing. Wait, what?
I was thinking about it.
Dude, I had a 50-point night last night. I'm like,
Wait, what?
What was the controversy going on with the NWHL, Brant?
Before we get to the controversy, shout out to the Toronto Six. It's their first season in the league, and obviously it's a weird season this year because they're shortened and they're in a bubble, and they're done by February, which is crazy.
Are they in a bubble? Where are they at?
Yeah, they're in Lake Placid, something like that. I think it's Lake Placid.
Which is where?
I could be wrong. New York. Sorry.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so they are 1-2 now. They got their first win last night against Buffalo. No, Boston. Sorry. So shout out to that. But that was nowhere near the biggest story in the NWHL, which is it's a lot. I don't have the entirety of the information in front of me, so I won't try and butcher it. But essentially, there were 2 players on the Riverettes. I don't even remember where they're from. They did interviews with Erica Nardini of Barstool on her show. I think it's Token CEO or Token something like that. They did interviews before the season, and then a bunch of bloggers and writers for the NWHL came out basically just angry about the fact that they're supporting Barstool in a sense. And they got all mad at Erica Nardini for having them on and for the players talking to her and the NWHL for supporting it. So Erica Nardini came out and had a video that included all these tweets that were directed at her from all these writers and bloggers and shit saying like, oh, you shouldn't, like, I don't even really know how to describe it other than the fact that they just kind of went at her and then she just kind of outed them all. And now this is war between like the left and right of hockey going at each other about women's hockey and their support of women's hockey and all that. And I'm not sure where I stand, which I didn't think I would say because I understand where the knock on Barstool is. Mm-hmm. But I don't think Barstool's done anything wrong in this situation. I think Erica Nardini, as much as she is the CEO of a trash bag company for the most part, I think a lot of people's issues I think a lot of people's issues with Barstool stems from Dave Portnoy and guys like KFC who are just trash human beings.
Right.
And I don't think you can take a look at Barstool as a whole, who, give them their due, they have done a great job of expanding the NWHL. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like, I don't know if the NWHL is in a spot right now where they can be like, yeah, we don't want those people cheering for us. You know what I mean? Like, this is still a relatively new league that has 6 teams and like under 30,000 followers on Instagram right now. Like, can you really be like, we don't want you supporting us?
It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation at this point, because Barstool, what they're great at is they're a media powerhouse. And
they're huge. Now
they just have, I understand why the NWHL would not want to be affiliated with Barstool because their misogynistic views, their homophobic views at times. Like,
but it's like, here's the thing for me.
But they are helping you in a way gain traction for your league.
Yeah.
But is it the crowd that you want to attract in terms of the frat boy culture that Barstool?
I think the frat boy thing is different.
Festers.
I think at some point someone needs to take a look at what Barstool is and realize, like, all of Barstool, not bad. The main idiot in charge of it is a dickhead. That guy does not deserve what he has because he's just a fucking jackass in everything he says. But people like Erica Nardini and the Spit and Chicklets guys, and there's a handful of other names I could bring up. They're good people.
They have to back their CEO.
Yeah, even she's not even the problem. Like, she's not that bad, and like she's never said a bad thing in her life about anyone. And like I was all over her the last couple of days, but like after looking into it, like she's really never said anything negative in general. And like I get where some of the Barstool people are going at about this. Where it's like, you know what, she's just trying her best to expand the game of hockey for women because she loves hockey and she's a part of this women hockey culture. So I get that. But then you get the other side where I don't know if you guys ever watched fucking KFC's like Minute Man or something like that. Yeah. I don't watch it, but every now and then I get it sent to me. I got the one he did yesterday. And everything he said in that was such a perfect example of what people think Barstool is. Right. And it's guys like that are ruining the name for Barstool. And it's just like, it's weird on both ends. And I have no idea who to side with.
It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation at this point. Because you would like the traction for your league. But now because the army that Barstool has, they're just coming at them in ways. It's like the beehive of sports, basically.
Yeah.
Where their fan base is so rabid and so great. Like, and there's some Barstool stuff that I absolutely like. Yeah. But there is the other side to where I don't love it from a journalistic standpoint because I just don't jive with the whole frat boy stuff. But there is a market for it and they kill that market.
Yeah. That they dominate. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, if you get everyone in Barstool siding with the NWHL, I understand there's a lot of shitty people that do listen to it. There's also some decent people, but like you're still going to get that shitty group of people crowd that's going to come and watch your games. And the main thing here is you want to get people watching games. And they're going to say some stupid shit, but people say stupid shit about men's sports too. It's the same thing. I don't really think shunning them away right off the hop was the best business decision. I understand the morals and everything of it, but business wise, it didn't make a lot of sense for me. I don't know. It's
tougher to see it thriving now that a big proponent of growing the league is now out.
That's tough.
Just based on what you guys are saying, I'm kind of caught in the middle of it too. Like I get where the moralistic standpoint of it, where you don't want a certain culture and a certain thing being imposed on what you have right now, especially knowing, Dave Portnoy and his beliefs and things like that. It's definitely tough because, again, you bring that kind of audience to it. Yeah, it brings attention and that's what you want, but at what expense? And I think that's the thing that's being, debated here. At what expense is it worth growing this league if the audience you're trying to, shy away from is the one that you're going to be bringing in there. So it's tough.
I think the issue stems from Dave, and there's obviously there's a couple of idiots below him, but like I think if people actually took a step back and look at some of the faces and names with Barstool, there's a lot of really good people there. They're just stuck underneath an absolute jackass of a boss. But if you put yourself in their shoes, like, you're not going to leave your job that's paying you good money because your boss is an idiot. Like, everyone's had a terrible human being of a boss at some point in their life, and you're not typically going to leave your company for that reason. So I think you look at a lot of these guys, like, they have there's a lot of guys that have that, like, in there that have moral standards that are better than most, but they're just going to get thrown in under that blanket. And I don't know. It's a weird spot.
Again, that being said, like, that's why I'm kind of stuck in the middle of it, because that's just how I roll with it. So
yeah,
it's tough.
I think Amir hit it on the head. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's a catch-22. It's unfortunate.
Is that from the book?
The what?
Catch-22. I don't know. Like, I understand the saying. No idea what the fuck it means.
It's cliche.
Yeah.
I would assume it's from the book, but we'll see. Okay. NFL. Championship weekend was last week. We have a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I was going to say New England Patriots. I'm not even going to cap. I was going to say New England Patriots.
Y'all are both toasting the brackets. Put that out there.
Yeah.
But you guys knew that. Picks.
I've been
we
toast.
can wait. We can wait a week. Yeah.
I'm burnt toast now. I'm not even.
To be fair, like, Amir had the chance to pull it all together and win it with Buffalo and Green Bay. Both of them happened to lose. I know Amir was very adamant on certain missed calls in the NFC Championship game.
All right, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the Kevin King throw being a flag because he held him.
Yep. But it wasn't.
But you gotta make the calls the entire game. You can't just be like.
Disagree with you. I think you've got a point, and I understand where you come from. But to me, I get they sucked in the first half. They were terrible at their job. But you still got to make the right call, and it's not like you're like, oh, we were shit in the first half, so let's just continue to be shit type of thing. And if it's something that blatant, you kind of got to call it.
Because, so on the interception that Rodgers threw in the first half.
It was a hold.
That's
Absolutely
what I
a
mean.
hold.
Like,
I don't disagree with you. I think they were bad. The rest were not good in that game. They're inconsistent as shit.
It has to be an eye for an eye in that situation. You let the Bay DBs play physical all game. Yeah. I think that you in sports, what do they always say? Don't let the rest decide the game. Don't let the rest decide the game in that situation. I don't think that that he was catching that pass. Honestly, I don't. If it was like it's close, it's borderline at best.
What the fuck are you doing holding his jersey if you're King?
I mean, don't allow the play. He can't allow that play.
Oh my! But like that, dude, just let him go. Just let him go.
If it was that far over his head, he shouldn't have held him. Like it looked like it was over.
He was bad all game. He got beat multiple times, and that cost them the game.
Well, so that is its own thing. We all agree.
Yeah.
That I would have preferred if they had called the game correctly the whole game.
Yes.
By the letter of the law, it is a holding flag.
It was the right call.
It was the right call. It by the letter of the law, it's the right call. But the precedent that they set for the game, that I don't think that should have been a flag.
Correct.
I agree with you to an extent.
Yeah.
I think they made the right call. They didn't make the right call earlier, and that's what it was.
And I can say I'm biased and want to see Aaron Rodgers go down the field and throw a touchdown because that would have been sick.
Yeah.
But then we can also say they lost it when they didn't go for it on fourth down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they would have won it. They could have won if they had won.
Yeah.
If Equanimeous St. Brown was the pass tipped. I never saw the angle where they said it was tipped, where he just straight up dropped it.
I never really saw.
They said it was tipped in the replay. I didn't see it.
It didn't look tipped.
It went right at his numbers. It just went right through him.
It's a catch you have to have, regardless, tipped or not. It's a catch you have to have.
It was in tight quarters, but that's a very, very catchable ball.
Mm-hmm. So,
bottom line,
what do you
why are you not going for it on fourth down there?
Because you figure, look how deep you are in their territory. I can understand. So, there's the idea that if you're down 14,
right,
and you score a touchdown, you're down 8 at the time. But if you go for a 2-point conversion, then you could have a chance to win when you get the ball back because you need a touchdown either way. Yeah, and you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
analytically, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know if analytically in that situation that the Packers were in, if it was 4th and goal, kicking the field goal and then putting the pressure on your defense to get another ball back.
Yeah,
and then you would get a touchdown to win. I don't. Yeah, as much as Brady doesn't look great at times, I trust him to get a first down at the least, which he did.
He knows how to make the short pass. When he's not trying to air it out, he's been great.
So I don't know if it was an analytical play from that point when you're down by 1 score to where the ball would have been at the 2 or the 5 yard line. Like if you
even if you don't get it, they're on. I think it was the 6. They're on the 6. They have to come the whole way down the field.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they get a first down, they're still a long way from getting anywhere that matters.
Yeah,
it's just a tougher position to put them in because they're on their goal line, so it's a less of a chance that they throw.
I don't know. That's a bad call to begin with. That led to a good call from the refs that shouldn't have been made.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of mistakes were made in that game.
Shitty that we got that ending because it could have been great, but Green Bay had their chances and they missed.
Dude. Tom Brady thought he was playing for the Packers for 2 quarters.
Exactly. Yeah,
he was hitting more Green Bay receivers than he was hitting Tampa receivers at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just they couldn't shut it down.
Even the timeout right at the end of the second quarter. Yeah. And it leads to them giving the ball right back up with however much to go, and you don't even bother playing defense on a deep shot. There were chances. I'm with Amir in the whole
Green Bay the game.
The precedent. If you set the precedent at the beginning of the game, stick to it throughout. Because again, you see it in football, but even when I'm watching it in soccer, there's nothing I hate more than seeing a ref completely flip his whistle middle of the game, 3 quarters through a game, and completely fucking a team. Yeah, and not that I want to make the excuse that it cost Green Bay the game because they had their opportunities, but that is detrimental to their chances.
They shot themselves in the foot, and then the refs just pushed them down. Is what happened.
Even though I had I took Tampa Bay and everything I could, so I'm more than happy that they made it. But the means in which they got there, I don't really agree with. Just because, I hate seeing the refs being the causing factor of a game.
On that deep touchdown they scored too, turned out to be the same man that had the flag called against him in the end too. It's
that
you want to blame a guy for the game.
That play literally won them the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that situation, if those 4 points made a difference in the end, whether it was a field goal or a touchdown, and you would have just kicked,
then you're not
you're not down that much at the end. Mm-hmm. All right, I know we don't want to talk about the Super Bowl picks, but how much faith do you guys have in the Buccaneers?
Can we talk about the other game before we even get to that?
Okay.
Is anyone else sick and tired of the fucking Chiefs?
Oh, I hate them. I
can't stand this team.
That all season. I
hate them more than I hated the Patriots for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just Patrick Mahomes, incredible human being, great guy.
I just don't find him that likable. I don't know why.
Travis Kelce, incredible human being. I can't stand watching him.
I don't like them. I just don't like them.
I was trying to dissect what it was. And before the game, I had nothing other than the fact that Tyreek Hill is a garbage human being. And I'm like, you know what? That gives me one reason to not like the Chiefs.
Right.
But then I watched that game against the Bills. And they get up huge. They slap the Bills around. But the Bills started to come back a little bit, and they made it a game. Yeah. But why are you taking shots at a quarterback after the whistle twice up like 20? Like, you're already winning. Just, like, take it easy, man. They're going after Josh Allen consistently. And obviously the Bills are going to take exception to that, and they get hit. Now all of a sudden they're acting like the other team's being a bunch of babies and stuff. It's like, no, man. Like, you guys are pissed that they're starting to mount a bit of a comeback, and you're acting like that? It's just scummy moves from their defense. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like their players on offense. That team's just so frustrating. I hate it. I hate them.
I think in terms of why people hate the Chiefs, it's very Tom Brady-esque. People just hate seeing the same thing happen over and over again, and I get that.
And it's only been 1 year.
That's what I mean. I don't even know if it's that yet for me.
It's been repeated. They've only won once these past 3 years. They lost the year before. They only lost to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship. Did they not?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I'm trying to compare him to him, but like, obviously I don't know, this is the narrative that's going to be pushed.
I don't know if that's it for me at this point, though, because they haven't really done anything. They have a Super Bowl. They nearly lost to the Browns this year, and then they slapped the Bills around, and they might not even win this one. Like, I'm not quite jealous of their success yet. There's just something about that team. I just don't like it.
I don't even know if it's that they're cocky and stuff. I just don't. No. Maybe it's that it's so easy for them. Because, like...
Could be.
All right, let's just talk about the Super Bowl. How don't you hammer the Chiefs? It's only -3.
Because the Bucs defense is really good.
The Bucs defense is really good, but...
And
how do you bet against Pat Mahomes at this point?
The Chiefs lost to the Raiders at some point this year.
They did.
And they nearly lost to the Browns in the playoffs.
They did.
Against two defenses that are very not the Tampa Bay Bucs.
Correct.
So I don't know, like...
Can we agree that this is exactly what Roger Goodell wanted?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the two best. The GOAT.
This is the passing of the torch. This is going to be deemed the passing of the torch. Like, will it happen or will it not happen, right? Because it's comparing one guy with 6 rings to the guy who's about to go back-to-back at 25 years old. Like, it's very, very much the perfect scenario in terms of what the league would have wanted. Two very hateable teams.
As a fan, I think Brady versus the Bills one more time would have been great. But the league standpoint, money-making wise, Mahomes versus Brady is a way more marketable situation.
I don't know.
3 points too. They're favored.
If I'm a betting man, and I'm seriously, everyone's talking about GameStop right now. I'm looking at the Chiefs.
Instead of putting my money on GameStop.
My cousin had 20 shares at $30 or something. So he's taking.
Isn't it up to like 100 and something?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't understand how the Chiefs are only 3-point favorites. I really don't. Because the Chiefs defense is good too.
But what do you put that spread at? Because I don't have faith in them being a 10.
6?
So a touchdown? I could see 6. But now we're humming and hawing over 3 points.
Was this not the team when these two teams played each other? Was it not a field goal?
6.5 to 7. Huh?
Was it not a field goal that separated these two teams when they played? Week 7, I think they played?
Probably.
Pretty sure it was tight.
This was a 27-24 game.
The Chiefs don't blow out anyone. That game against the Bills was a bit of a shock. They don't blow out anyone. They're close in a lot of games. So I mean,
it looked a lot closer in the end. The onside kick. They still need a lot in order to make it.
No, that's what I mean. They blew out the Bills. It was a bit of a surprise that they actually did it because they haven't blown out anybody this year.
Bills kind of choked that game.
Yep. Yeah.
Once they were up early, they could have.
I mean, it's so hard to contain them. I don't know how you can call it.
It's not just containing them. It's don't settle for field goals. It's score touchdowns. It's
Josh Allen was literally doing it on his own.
Basically,
like he was not able to find Stephon Diggs until late in the game, and that hurt. Like Cole Beasley, he's been great, but I mean, him as your second receiver, like you can only do so much.
Right.
He also definitely didn't look healthy.
Right.
He was banged up all game long.
What was he? 3 games with a ruptured fibula or something like that. A warrior of a thing to do, but I mean,
but he just
you're injured. WR2 It's going to be tough to beat the best offense in the league if you got to go shot for shot with them. So
I think the one thing that you feel good if you're Tampa Bay is that the Chiefs don't have any run game.
No.
And I think they lack a run defense, do they not? The only thing is, who have they gone up against that's really run the ball? I mean, the Chiefs. Oh, sorry, the Browns. Did they? What was the score in that?
They didn't even really run the ball that much, though, did they?
Because they were trailing.
Not as much as they usually do.
Yeah, not as much as they usually. They only had 19 attempts by running backs.
That's because the Chiefs get ahead so early and so often that you're always chasing the game.
You have to throw the ball.
If Brady gets the ball and then can control clock, get them up. If I'm Tampa, I get the ball first, and then I score and take my time.
Take the game
and then
to the ground.
Pray that your defense gets a stop on the first, and then you have to. If you get a 14-0, I feel great. If you don't get a 14-0, I think Kansas City wins that game. It has to be the perfect storm in the for Tampa to win, and that's why I feel so confident. If I would bet the Chiefs -3,
I can foresee that being a thing because that Bucs defense has put up stops in a hurry all year.
But the one weakness you would say is their corners, and Tyreek Hill just went off for 269 yards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you never know.
Not great, Bob.
I think it's going to be cover. It's always a case of who do you cover, Hill or Kelsey, and you can you say you want to do both, but you can't get both. So
you can barely even get one. It's you can't really get one.
And even when you have Tyreek Hill on a one-on-one coverage, he goes and busts a 70-yard run right past Levi Wallace and they're right into goal from what was their own freaking 20-yard line. It's phenomenal that these two weapons it's going to be crazy. I like even at 3 fucking points. I'm taking the Bucs, but I mean, what's not to stop anybody from hammering the fucking Chiefs? They just look so fucking hard to stop.
They're too good. They're too good.
Too good.
Was that it for football?
I think that's.
Oh no, we had the one. Yeah, we had the one other.
Oh fuck.
So in a podcast where we talked about Barstool Sports and Dave Portnoy, we still haven't actually reached the shittiest person on the planet yet. Until now. Because fucking Chad Wheeler of the Seattle Seahawks just cemented himself.
Free agent now.
Sorry, did they release him already?
I mean, technically he's a free agent. Technically he's a member of the Seahawks, so I don't even know.
Former member of the Seattle, whatever you want to call him, because he ain't going to be playing in the NFL much longer.
Right.
He was arrested for domestic assault.
Domestic assault.
Which, you know what? It happens in the NFL a lot. It's come to a point now. It's kind of embarrassing to say, but it's a thing. And I understand brain injuries have a lot to do with it. But this fucking asshole, I don't know if I don't really want to tell the story on it, but look it up if you get a chance because it's fucking ridiculous.
You piece of filth.
Man, we said a lot of bad things about Terrence Davis. I think they were warranted. I don't think we were wrong.
No,
everything he did.
Given what we knew, it's fair.
What we know from this guy, and I don't want to put a ranging scale on assaults, but this is at the top of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not even fucking human what this man did.
No.
And to leave the girl there and then be shocked that she's still alive.
Shows up. And he's eating cereal. I don't even know what it was.
Took a sip of his smoothie and said, "Oh, you're still alive." Like
it was nothing.
Jeez.
And you know what? Shout out fucking Des Bryant because he tweeted about it. Lots of people are tweeting about it, but him specifically, he goes, "Chad Wheeler, if I ever run across you, we're going toe to toe because I wouldn't mind making the news, breaking something across your fucking head, and then asking if you're still alive."
Yeah.
I'm like, whoo, whoo.
And then some people tried to go at Des for supporting Tory Lanez in the drama with him and Meg Thee Stallion, and Des was just like, "Well, we don't know what happened in that situation. We know what happened in this. It is not the same." And that is me.
This one guy in the replies literally said, "You mean how they destroyed and to this day continue to destroy Ben Roethlisberger, but he was never charged with a crime while the same media blows Ray Lewis?" When's the last time you've ever heard a bad thing about fucking Ben Roethlisberger from someone that's not me or Morrow?
Antonio Brown.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
are you
Maybe
fucking
Antonio
kidding
Brown
me?
was the good guy.
I'm the first person
Yeah.
to bring up Ben's past. Like
Oh my
I
God,
say
like,
it
we're
more
the
as
only
a joke,
two
but
that
I
ever
mean,
say it. Nobody fucking talks about it anymore.
No one.
Like,
yeah,
you
because
gotta
it's
be kidding
swept
me with
under the
that
rug.
stupid
Like
shit.
it's
Oh my
No,
God.
it's
but
the
Colin
sad
Kaepernick
reality.
was the real asshole for not standing for the flag.
Yeah.
What Colin did was so wrong.
It's a backwards logic.
Buddy, if this guy has another fucking day in the NFL at any point in his life, then Roger Goodell needs to go that day.
What's the thing? Like they're blackballing players for, and I hate to say it because like somebody's viewpoint and then what somebody does to another person, I think are two different things. And what Kaepernick did is not warranted for him to get blackballed from the league, and then for somebody
This
to go and
is.
domestically assault
This
somebody.
is.
Yeah, like this.
We
it's
had this
two different
conversation.
things.
We had not obviously not on the podcast because we didn't have it at that point, but we've had this conversation about Kareem Hunt and about Ray Rice and about Adrian Peterson and guys like that, where the situation was like, you know what, it was bad. Everything they did was wrong, but it wasn't one of those
They
things where
get
you could
punished
see just
by
the,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of like but all those parties were on good terms after that, and it wasn't something where this is a
Where
legitimately
the situations
insane
were
human
solved.
being.
Which situations
Yeah.
were solved
Yes,
in court? There was
we're talking about a man that tried to murder a woman with his bare fucking hands.
right.
Like it's one. Like again, like not that we're trying to equate what's bad in terms
No,
of
it's all
violent
wrong.
action
It's all
towards
wrong.
somebody, but
It's just that
like, this is extreme. This is extreme.
So much worse. They're all
And
wrong.
then you had media outlets like misinterpreting, not even misinterpreting, because they know exactly what they were doing. They just misreported basically the facts of the story. It was just like man arrested, NFL player arrested for
because that was the news that popped up on my phone. Was that
like what
Seahawks whatever was arrested on domestic violence? I'm like, okay, kind of just brushed it under because like it happens. It'll go through trial, whatever, and he'll be back.
It's like, oh, you mean that this dude attempted murder? That's what he did.
Thought he murdered her. It wasn't even like attempted murder.
Let's not beat around the bush.
He thought he killed her.
Yeah.
He was ready to Aaron Hernandez the fucking thing. Are you kidding me with this?
Crazy.
Like, holy shit. If that guy's not in prison next week, I'll be fucking shocked.
It's crazy.
But I'd be less shocked if he ends up back in the NFL.
Crazier things have happened. Sadly.
I don't want to make a pun. So on to the UFC.
Speaking of people getting knocked.
Nope.
That was bad. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Speaking of shit
That's
people,
exactly
but
what I did. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. What was it? UFC 257?
257.
257.
Round two something.
Yeah, it was the rematch. 92% of the betting money was on Conor McGregor.
It seemed like a foregone conclusion, did it not?
Yes, but to people that watch the UFC since the last Conor fight,
Dustin's been good.
Dustin's been the better fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, Conor just hasn't fought. So he's just been better because
the
he's
better
still
fighter.
there doing it. He's still there doing it.
He's been in the bigger fights.
Yep. He's been in fights, period. Conor just took time off and he just stopped fighting.
I thought that the Poirier strategy was phenomenal because so in like the last year, I've seen like a flip since like the Volkanovski fight against Max was like the first time that I really saw it and like took notice to it to where they're just peppering your legs, peppering your front leg. And if they can just stand the barrage of hits that in the McGregor threw to Dustin in the first round, and there was times where McGregor absolutely stung him, and like if he had hit him one more time, it could have ended right there, but it didn't. And ever since like the beginning of the fight, Dustin kind of saw, I can stand this. This isn't the worst thing, and I was worried that into the second round, Dustin was going to like go away from the game plan of peppering his legs because after a while you understand that the legs are going to be shot. You saw it recently in the Gaethje Khabib fight. If Gaethje got through the second round in that situation, Khabib's leg was almost done. So when you do that, it just dummies the guy and it works. Like in almost every fight. Adesanya did it to Costa in his last fight. And then Conor, like, I don't want to say he folds in adversity, but
he hasn't faced it very many times in his career. Like,
right.
It's
basically if Conor doesn't knock out a guy in the first round, it's going to the other guy, basically. Honestly.
Aside from the one Nate Diaz fight, you're not wrong.
To which that fight, everyone was just didn't Nate win that fight?
He's had 2 fights go to the judges. One of them was the Nate fight, and the other, one of them was the Nate fight. The other one was the Max
and there was
Holloway
a significant amount of people that thought that McGregor
Nate
lost Nate too. Exactly. Yeah.
It was close.
And what people don't realize is Dustin Poirier is such a better fighter than he is. Like the Dustin Poirier that fought Khabib is a different Dustin Poirier than that fought Conor the first time. Mm-hmm. If Conor McGregor fought Max Holloway now compared to when Max Holloway was 22, that's a totally different fight. Guys get better, and Dustin Poirier showed it.
Dustin Poirier has been a lot better than what he was. And I think that was Conor's problem going into it. Is I don't think he came ready for this. I think he came in thinking, you know what, I've beat him once, I'll beat him again. He's a stepping stone for him, right? He didn't show it, mind him. I'll give him the fact that this is a very different Conor McGregor human being that's showing up to these fights. Because like in his media tour, this was not.
Yeah, Conor he was McGregor. Nice. He was nice, but then he also did say the typical Conor stuff. I'm gonna knock him out in 60 seconds this time.
Yeah.
He tried. It didn't work.
he landed some shots, but
he did.
It didn't matter. Shout out Dustin, man. He fought a perfect fight.
He did,
and he beat him straight up.
Now, if you're the UFC, you're pissed.
Are you?
Yes.
Because I think I don't know. I think the loss might keep Conor around longer than a win.
I disagree.
I doubt Conor goes out.
If he wins, he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao.
No. If he wins, he fights Khabib for the biggest fight in the UFC.
Khabib's not coming back.
Khabib comes back for the fight.
I don't think he wants to come back.
Him and Dana met. I saw the behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. He said if they impress me, I'll come back.
He's like,
and if Conor wins that fight, he's not going to go, oh, you impressed me.
Well, so look, it's going to be the big. So this fight with Poirier was the second biggest in UFC history behind Khabib. Conor won. There's no reason why. So Dana was like, there's no reason why a rematch couldn't have been in the top 3 of fights all time, no matter the sport. To which you're not wrong. But also, who knows if he really wants to do it, right? Mm-hmm. If Khabib wants to.
I don't think Khabib wants
to. What Khabib told Dana after the fight, he's not wrong. He's like, look at these guys. I'm levels above these. Like, and he's not wrong.
Did I not say that though? Like, as soon as he said, "Oh, if these guys impress me, I'll come back." He's a bitch when it comes to that. It doesn't matter how good people are. He just thinks he's better than them, so he's not coming back.
But
he was never coming back. He was never coming back. Yeah, but it's not even that he's better. If you're gonna tell me, like, those guys could have fought their ass off for 5 rounds,
out in 60 seconds, he
wouldn't have came back. No, he wouldn't have came back.
So apparently, I can't remember if it was DC that said it or if it was Ariel. But they said the one situation to where they would come back is Islam Makhachev is the next upcoming guy from, I don't know if it's AKA, but like from Khabib's camp. Okay. And if he becomes champion or something and wins and then gets knocked off by that guy, then Khabib would come back to then beat that guy. That's the only situation, apparently, is the only situation Khabib would come back. It's interesting.
I would like to see him fight Mike Chandler. Did you watch the Chandler?
I did.
I fought that one.
I did. That was
that kid can fight.
It was interesting.
I'd like to see it, and then he calls him out. I'm like, he hasn't earned it. I don't think.
Nope.
But I wouldn't hate seeing it.
I'm trying to look up his other fights because I know he's
his first UFC fight.
I know it's his first UFC fight, but I think he has 5 losses in his career.
Does he?
But like, what is that? If you're Khabib, what is that?
He hasn't earned the spot. Don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't hate it. He looked good.
Like he won a split decision against Benson Henderson. That's the only like UFC name. He lost to Eddie Alvarez. Khabib is significantly better than Eddie Alvarez.
When was the Eddie Alvarez fight though?
2013. in Bellator.
That was.
He's 1-1 against Eddie Alvarez.
I would like to see it. I mean, he wasn't cocky about it either. It was like he called him out, obviously, but it wasn't like, yeah, I'll take your record. It was just like, you know what, you want to be 30-0?
He said it
against me.
No, he's been saying that. Oh, you're 30 in Chandler, or 29 in Chandler. Like what? I don't know.
But I mean, the call out on live TV wasn't let
good.
me go break your perfect record.
Right.
It was
good.
You want to be 30-0?
Let me
come
next.
Do it against me.
Yeah.
That was good.
If you can.
He just wants next.
Khabib versus Dustin doesn't do it for me.
No, I wouldn't hate giving. Dustin
I would see it again.
But
Dustin's getting the next title shot, and I don't think that they're doing Gaethje just because Gaethje just fought for the title.
Yeah,
I don't think that, and Poirier has no interest in fighting Chandler because he's like, Chandler doesn't deserve it. He's fought one fucking UFC fight. Yeah. Fight some other of the guys.
I think Chandler gets one more fight, and then I think he probably takes a shot at that title.
Right.
No matter who has it.
But for McGregor, I don't know what's next. Because
honestly, I think it's another Dustin fight. I think they both want
it. For the title, though? Because Dustin's next fight is for the title. How do you give Conor that shot for?
I don't know if Dustin's really into it at this point. Like he just seemed like he doesn't really want to be there. And it was just like they asked him after. He's like, "So what's next for you? Like, do you want another Conor fight? Do you want the title fight?" And he's like, "I don't know. I think the Conor fight makes a lot of sense." He goes, "A fight with Nate makes a lot of sense." He goes, "Other than that, I really don't know." So I mean, I think both of them want the rematch. I don't know if it's their next fight, but I think it very well could be the next fight that those two guys fight is another rematch against each other. Yeah, because even when he won it, they're like, when they were announcing the winner, he literally just put up both fingers. He's like, it's 1-1. Like he wasn't happy with the win. Yeah. He wants to win the series.
Right. I don't think the UFC makes it immediately because then you would be selling Conor at his lowest right now. What's a fight that gets Conor back to being
Nate?
Because Conor loses the mystique. Does fighting Nate Diaz, who has how many losses on his record, really?
But part 3 against Nate is a lot different than.
It's a huge fight
it gets the viewership. I don't know if Dustin and Conor
doesn't do anything for the division, really. But
no. But I don't think you needed to at that point. You just need to sell Conor as something that can win. And if it's against Nate, you're like, you know what? Nate hasn't fought in a while. I could see it.
I'd love to see, I would love to see McGregor versus Diaz. I'd love to see him somehow go up to 170 and fight either Usman or Masvidal. I think McGregor gets
I don't think it'd be an entertaining fight against Usman.
Oh,
if I'm the UFC, I hate that matchup. I love Masvidal. That'd be a hell of a matchup.
I think Masvidal dummies him.
People do.
I think Masvidal dummies him. I think he's too big. Dustin was apparently at 170 something going into the fight, and he looked huge. Yeah. So, I think the UFC they lost like a shit ton of money because obviously they can't sell the Khabib Conor fight. Conor's not up for a title fight in his next fight now. You run Chandler versus him, I think then Chandler wrestles him.
Yeah. Based on what Conor's been saying, though, it seems like he wants to stay around for a while.
I'll believe
it. Looks like he wants a couple more fights.
I don't think he wants to go out after a loss. That's for sure. No, I think he'll stick around.
I mean, he went out after a loss in the last one.
Yeah, but that was it was a title fight loss, whereas this was kind of like you weren't ready for this. And I think he goes until he gets back on the roll, and then he hops off again.
But if he loses this one, which he could, him versus Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferg is washed. That's two potentially washed fighters going up against each other.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like Conor in any of these fights. Conor versus Ferguson, Chandler, Oliveira looks really good right now. Gaethje, Poirier.
I think Ferg and Conor would be an interesting matchup, and I think whoever loses that fight never fights again in the UFC.
Basically,
because they're done. That's all it is.
It'll be interesting to see. Okay. Oh, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. Yeah, I saw all the media stuff going on about it yesterday. It was yesterday.
Jake Paul's going to win that fight.
Okay.
Ben Askren can't box. Ben Askren is I'll give him his respect. He's a hell of a fighter in the UFC, and he's a great wrestler, elite wrestler. But he was never a good boxer in his career. Never. And he got knocked out in the quickest time possible in the UFC.
Right, but he's not.
He's not what he's ever been. Like, he's kind of, speaking of washed, Ben Askren's not what he once was, and he's going up against a 20-something-year-old kid that hasn't really been hit. Like, his chin's still pretty strong. He's I don't know. I can't say much because Jake's never really fought anyone, but from what I've heard from actual fighters, his boxing technique is technically sound. And if there's any UFC fighter that Jake Paul was going to beat, it's Ben Askren. The fight was never McGregor versus Jake Paul. It's Ben Askren, so he can kick the shit out of a UFC fighter and move on.
So here's my thing.
So what you're saying is it's going to get prolonged even more.
I think there's a chance he beats Ben Askren and it keeps going, yes.
Oh, God.
My whole thing is...
I have never cheered for Ben Askren in my life until this moment, though, because I hope to God I'm wrong. And I hope he beats the hell out of him.
My whole thing is, it's just like the Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. Does he just throw the fight for the money? No. Well, or in Floyd's situation,
like both situations? No, Ben Askren wants it. Ben Askren wants this because Ben Askren his name is starting to go down. He wants him just to kick the shit out of
Ben Askren's retired.
I understand. He wants this so he can be like, I'm the guy that got these YouTubers out of our hands. He's got that attitude to him. He wants to be the guy that shut up the Pauls.
Fair. I'm trying to look up the betting odds.
That in itself is something to strive for. I mean, what you're saying is that if there's anybody if there's any UFC fighter he had the chance to beat, it's him.
I think it would be like the Ben Askren type fighter, not necessarily Ben Askren.
In terms of what he brings to UFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a lack of boxing.
He's an elite wrestler.
Jake Paul's minus 220.
He's what?
Minus 220.
No, good Lord.
For example, that is a bigger favorite than the Chiefs are on the money line to win the Super Bowl.
I think it's almost the same favorite that McGregor was to win against Dustin.
No, McGregor was a heavier favorite than that.
Wasn't he like a 330?
I almost bet on it.
Yeah, it was 330.
He was like
come fight time, it was 250 because I went to bet on it.
No, it was heavy.
I'm telling you because I threw my money on it.
That's
and
on
it was 250.
No, I remember it being a 330 at one point. Maybe not as close to fight time, but it was fucking stupid.
It was
beginning of the fight. It was 250 because I went.
Because there's no way. There's no way. That would mean that people would be betting Poirier, which no one was betting Poirier.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what the number was when I went to bet it. I debated it,
Let's get it,
and I didn't do it because I was smart.
Okay.
But I don't like if Ben Askren knocks out Jake Paul. Does that shut him up?
No.
Or does he keep going?
But at least it gives everybody the satisfaction.
That's
it. That's important.
You don't promote this anymore.
It's very important.
You don't listen to a word this guy has to say. He can't even be a UFC fighter at boxing. He can't even be a UFC wrestler at boxing.
And that's what I mean. Like this is a very smart ploy for the Pauls in the sense that you keep edging your way into getting a legit boxing match against somebody who is actually trained as a professional boxer.
It's brilliant for their brand. This is the most anyone's talked about the Pauls since that suicide video Logan did.
Yeah.
Like this is the only way you're getting your name into the entire public right now because like no one likes their YouTube content. Not many people are like,
I don't even know
check
what
out the Paul. I have no interest in watching.
I have no idea what they
have the subscribers, obviously.
Content, but
like you're not expanding that YouTube content. So you're going into this to be the enemy to go out and make money. But if you lose, you're done. So I'm really cheering for Ben Askren at this point.
Let's talk about the Blue Jays.
You mean the best lineup in the AL?
The best lineup in baseball? What?
The Dodgers of the AL.
I don't know if you guys know this. But if you project on Fangraphs, the team standings, the Blue Jays are 4th in all of baseball.
And we did.
The only teams that are higher are the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Yankees.
Right?
So what you're saying is
team in our division.
Everything that makes me hate a baseball team is what the Blue Jays has become.
No.
Yeah,
the big market Blue Jays, they just throw out all their money everywhere.
Because like
they just post up to get Springer, they get Semien, they get Yates, they're gonna go get Bauer, they're gonna go get Lindor, they're gonna trade him for the Mets.
Bo's our guy, Vlad's our guy, Cavan's our guy, Lourdes is our guy.
Yeah.
There is I know.
Rowdy.
There's the difference.
Mm-hmm. All our catchers.
Nate Pearson, our guy.
Nate Pearson, thank you.
I know.
Ryu feels like one of our guys at this point because he's just won my heart.
There is a difference. I'm just playing.
They have a Canadian in Jordan Romano.
Hey, Markham.
Not to be forgotten.
So they signed Marcus Semien to a 1-year, $18 million deal.
Yeah.
He in 2019, the last real season in baseball, he was third in AL MVP voting. How are you?
Wow.
And he had a tough start to last year, but he figured it out.
He figured it out towards the end of the season.
Was really good in playoffs.
His playoff numbers were insane. His OBP was like 480. He had a couple.
His OPS was over 1,000, was it not?
I'm pretty sure
Whatever.
he was unreal. And
so
I decided
if you're getting that guy.
Yeah, if you're getting that guy, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was
last
so
week. Last week we went into the whole deal of shuffling up the lineup, and now we get to do it again. Is what you're telling me.
I've now quoted my buddy on 3 straight podcasts, but he sent me also a good point the other day. He was asking, he's like, so he puts Semien in third. Where do you slot him? I don't have him at third. Like
so
in the lineup. Sorry,
I heard.
I can't remember if I said it on the podcast or I texted you. Doesn't this give credence now to batting Cavan 9?
Oh, this was on the podcast. You mentioned this. Could be. The thing we talked about.
Because if you bat Cavan 9,
yeah,
and then because Fangraphs has it to where Cavan's batting 6, which is just weird to me. He's too down in the lineup. That's
a weird spot.
He doesn't do it. I think he's 9.
It's not fit for his skill set. It's 1 or 9. I don't think it's anything else.
Yeah. So here's what Fangraphs has it, and I'll get you to react to it. Springer 1, Semien 2, Bichette 3, Teoscar 4, Vlad 5, Cavan 6, Lourdes 7, Rowdy 8, Danny 9.
The other thing that does is that pushes Lourdes way down.
Way down.
I don't like that.
No.
They were. I don't remember what show it was today, but they were talking about Semien being like the 7-8 guy right now, which I think realistically makes the most sense until he proves that he's what that MVP candidate was.
Yeah.
For me right now, apparently George Springer's numbers are terrible in the 2-3 spot. By the way, which I didn't know. Like he's like almost 60 points worse on his average.
It's just that his leadoff numbers are insane.
Yeah, so I don't know. He might just by default be your
put him at
leadoff guy,
leadoff.
but personally, if I'm putting together skill sets, I'd have Cavan leading off, Springer hitting 2, Bo 3, Teo 4, Vlad 5.
Sorry.
Lourdes.
Who's your 2-3?
2-3 was Springer, Bo.
Okay.
And then Teo, Vlad.
Vlad over Lourdes?
Vlad Lourdes is interchangeable. I don't think.
Right, I agree. So for 5-6, yeah.
Yeah, and then you probably go Semien at that point.
7.
And then Rowdy Jano. Or Gritchik Jano, depending on how the whole
this
lineup
is a
works.
deep lineup.
It's
like just coming at this from like the very casual standpoint. This is a very deep lineup.
You have a 3-hitter could be out of the lineup next.
I think it's time to be a Blue Jays fan again, guys.
Man, I've been chugging on the train right now.
So our 9-hole hitter is a bat first catcher who hasn't been bat first, but he's been glove first. And
who hit 2 home runs against one of the best pitching teams in the MLB in the playoffs last year.
Exactly.
Perfect.
How are you? This could be insane. Okay. Offensively, the Jays weren't a problem last year. That was never the problem. They wanted to address run prevention. They did that with Semien and Springer, obviously, because you get Grichuk out of the lineup
defensively. And
then on days that you rest, Randall Grichuk is an unreal fourth outfielder. Like, I give him that. I don't like Randall Grichuk, but as a fourth outfielder, come on. The thing that you haven't addressed though is the starting rotation. The starting rotation just isn't good enough. You have Robbie Ray as your second starter. Get the fuck out of here.
If Nate Pearson is what Nate Pearson
hold on, but you can't project him right now.
Obviously not. Right now, as it sits, not ideal. But
tell me,
Nate Pearson can be a big league starter, which that playoff appearance and the little bit before he had that, he's very good. Very good.
So then you would say there's only two guys on the Jays that you in the rotation right now that you would feel comfortable if they reach their potential to start in the playoffs.
I'm comfortable with Anthony Kay as a 4-5, but it's like
well, here, listen to the
okay.
Ryu, Robbie Ray, Nate Pearson. Yeah, Nate Pearson right now. I'd love if Nate Pearson projected as my 4-5.
I don't hate him.
I think 3-4. I think 3-4 is fair.
If he is what he should be, if I'm looking at this optimistically,
you can't rely on it though.
No, but if I'm looking at this optimistically, Nate Pearson could be a 1 on a lot of teams.
Could be, but I don't think he'll be next year. So you can't rely on that.
He's 25, is he not?
He's 23? A rookie though. He's a rookie. He's 24.
Okay. Obviously, it's not a great thing to look at. But he could be a 1 if he reaches his potential, which he looked like he was on track to do come the end there.
Okay.
From the injury in the
4-5. Tanner Roark, Ross Stripling. No.
Strip can be a 5, but he's like a 5. Soaking Roark. Roark was definitely not. You have two iffy 5s.
You have 2 5s that you want in the bullpen.
You have 2 long men that are your 4-5. I don't like
and you
that.
have a 2 that you'd want as a 4.
Yeah. but I would put K over.
1, or you can also be a 5.
He could be a reliever too. It's yikes.
60% of the rotation.
It's yikes.
So what you're telling me is 60% of our rotation is wanted in the bullpen.
We have a big bullpen. We have a 2-man rotation and a big bullpen.
We're the Rays. We're just gonna have openers every.
Nate Pearson's going to open every third game because we don't know what else to do. Honestly, they might run openers when Robbie Ray plays too. Like it's yikes. But the bullpen's deep. Yeah, they got Cole back.
You got
Baracky's there.
His pen numbers are good. Merriweather, I think they might try as a starter even. Mm-hmm. Oh, and Kay and Brucky might.
Julian Merriweather was gross in the bullpen last year.
Yeah, he was good. I think they got Atkins was talking today. It's like it's not just as simple as we're fine from a financial standpoint to add pitchers, but it's also you're taking away opportunities from other players. Guess what? I'd be okay to take away the opportunities from Tanner Roark and Ross Stripling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think you need
to start your guy.
I think you need.
If you're being that loyal to Ross Stripling and Tanner Roark, why aren't you being loyal to Taijuan Walker? Like, it's the same situation. Like, Ross Stripling is the same situation that Taijuan is, for sure, and Roark was only there a month longer.
I think they intend to give Barachy or Kay or Merriweather a chance to start.
If Barachy is what he was in the bullpen, he could easily slot into that rotation.
That's the only thing I can assume. Or that Trent Thornton, TJ Zoic, Sean Reed-Foley, like if those guys are starting, I don't know. Or Thomas Hatch, like that's a guy that they've been talking about to start, right? I just don't know how you can feel
the two sides of the ball just don't really match up for me though. Like you're going for it with your lineup when the guys you sign there,
and
but you're
not
still developing with your rotation.
Exactly. And
you don't sign Marcus Semien to a 1-year deal if you're trying to build.
Agreed. That's why why don't you take shots on these pitchers? Like I know I mentioned to you Chris Archer, but I don't understand how that doesn't make sense from the standpoint of if he gets hurt, like
who cares?
If the Jays guys get hurt right now, you're fucked. Yeah. You're fucked but then if you sign guys that are at least flyers and they get hurt, you have those guys as backups. Mm-hmm. So I think at a minimum you
taking flyers. I know you don't like it. I'd be taking flyers on Shoemaker. I'd be taking a flyer on Rodon. I would take a flyer on Chris Archer. These type of guys that like they can still be proven MLB pitchers And if they get hurt, at least you have your original ideas below them.
Exactly.
And it's not like you're not starting with a backup plan right now.
Look at what the Padres are doing. They have 5 starters, and then they have Mackenzie Gore in the minors right now.
Because not that he can't play, it's that they just don't have a spot to put him.
I texted my buddy. I'm like, this is the perfect service time manipulation. You don't have to put him in the matrix because you
can't say he deserves to come up because who do you take out? It's crazy.
Like Chris Archer right now has
Archer fall off a cliff. Like I don't get it.
Yes.
Who?
Chris Archer.
He did.
Archer.
But
he did.
On Fangraphs, so Jake Odorizzi is projected at 3 years, $39 million for his contract. Chris Archer's projected at 1 year, $8 million, and they have the same projected WAR.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty obvious. Like, I rather Chris Archer or Jose Quintana? Give me Chris Archer.
I've been big on Quintana for a while, but
he's been bad ever since he went to Chicago.
He's been bad in Chicago. Yes.
Shoemaker, meh. He can never stay healthy.
Shoemaker, when he's in, is great, but you're right. He can't stay healthy. But it's a guy you take a flyer on because he can pitch.
Fangraphs projects Taijuan Walker at 2 years, $9 million. I would sign that yesterday.
2 at 9 or 2 years 9?
2 years at $9 million. So
I'm like $4.5 million a year for Taijuan Walker. I'm taking that yesterday.
Yeah.
But even still, 9 a year, that's not like was it Shapiro or Atkins that came out and said the heavy lifting's done?
Shapiro.
I don't think 9 years is heavy lifting anymore. I think that's just like a nice
9 years.
Sorry, 9 years is heavy lifting. I don't think 9 mil is heavy lifting.
I
think that's still a piece they could still be after, along with guys like Odorizzi and.
But would you say that 2 of them is heavy lifting?
2 of them is heavy lifting. I think you're not getting 2 starters at this point. But they could trade.
2 of them is the equivalent to 1, right? You paid $18 million for Semien.
Yeah.
If the Jays trade Groshans for Luis Castillo,
I'm in. Apparently, it got brought up on the Fan this week. Apparently, it was Jeff Blair. I don't know my sources on this, but apparently Jeff Blair was just like, "Would you trade Vlad for Luis Castillo?" And I'm like, "Would you shut the fuck up?"
For why? What?
There's 0 reason. Not one pitcher has gone for anything good, and you're going to give up a roster MLB player who's still under 22.
Who still has MVP potential.
Yeah, you just shut up. Like, come on, man. That's such a dumb idea. I don't know if it was him or someone that called in, but I was told on the 590 they were talking about it this week.
That's crazy.
That's a joke.
So Semien, oh my God. I'm excited because his value comes not only defensively, but like that's where the majority of his value comes. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but putting him at second, that is better.
Yeah.
And then the upside defensively, it's incredible. I was looking at Fangraphs. They had an article on Semien, and they gave like the percentile outcomes. This is in the 10th percentile. The 10th percentile, he's still a 2.5 WAR player. So 10th percentile meaning the worst projection.
That's your 7-hitter.
And he would hit 254, 318 on base, still hit 21 home runs.
That's your
Let's say 60th percentile. Okay? 4.5 WAR, 30 bombs, hits 268 and 341.
That is your 7-hitter.
You want to hear the 90th percentile? If you just want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
6.3 WAR, 36 homers, 284 average, 367 on base. I don't know if you saw the obscure stat, but the stats he put up in 2019 hit him and like Babe Ruth are the only people to do those certain stats. Here, I'll look it up.
That's insane.
That's what it's.
I hope they play in Toronto.
Oh my God! Honestly,
that'd be ideal. I don't see it happening, but
probably not.
I would love to have the opportunity to watch this team live.
Mm-hmm.
Even playoffs, if they do like a 20%
playoffs
type shit.
Playoffs.
I would spend money to do that.
Okay,
I'd spend money to go to that.
Here is a list of players in MLB history with at least 116 runs, 173 hits, 38 doubles, 7 triples, 30 home runs, 85 RBIs, 78 walks, and 10 stolen bases in a season. Babe Ruth twice in 1921 and 1923, Lou Gehrig in 1927 and 1930, and Marcus Semien in 2019.
Good Lord.
So Cespedes tweets out.
So what you're telling me is we just got...
So Cespedes tweets out, wow, the legendary 116, 173, 38, 7, 30, 85, 78, and 10 club.
Wow. How peculiar. I was going to say.
A very obscure line.
But being on a list with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
I was going to say, when you can get your guy on a list with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, you do it.
Yeah.
You go to that obscure line. Wow. That's pretty good. Shout out to whoever figured that out, too. You have some time on your hands.
Right?
Fuck.
Jeez. Wow.
Semien is just an unreal move to just buy. You're buying low, and yet it's a no risk
deal. Yeah, it's a 1-year deal.
And if you project it over like his stats last year and they were down, he still projects as almost a 3-win player.
It's crazy.
Laughing.
I did want to bring up this point. So my cousin was talking to me about it too. And in terms of just the development and the flexibility this provides, like he's going to get shifted to the to 3, right? He's going to get third base.
He's going to play second, and then Cavan's going to play third.
That's what you think? I mean, all in all, this just shields Bichette from having to play there. And I think in terms of his development, that was the biggest thing. That was what my cousin was telling me. So I think that's a win.
Basically that the Jays, they want to become, the Jays are trading for Steven Matz. Great.
That's not awful.
It's not great.
Afraid to see who comes.
For 3 prospects, what the hell? Did we actually give up people?
Matz was good at some point. There's no way it was anyone good. If you gave up more for Steven Matz than the Padres did for you, Darvish, or Blake Snell, you just ruined all the work you've done in the offseason.
That's interesting.
Steven Matz was which? The Mets? At one point?
Yeah.
Are you certain about this one? Or is
it was Jeff Passan?
Oh, so you're certain.
0-5 last year with a 9.68 ERA.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I mean.
And now that basically guarantees that the Mets
are getting Bauer.
Yeah. Holy.
That's an interesting one.
I mean, if they think that he's their J.A. Happ and bounces back.
I was going to say it could be something.
It's interesting.
His career numbers aren't great.
Nope. Yeah, outside of his second year, if he's healthy, he's a 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
At 5 or 6, how much is he getting?
Hey, well, we needed more 4 and 5 guys. We didn't have enough of those. Fuck. Doesn't that take away the opportunity from your guys? Was that not the announcement this morning? Was that we don't want to take opportunities away from our guys? Doesn't that do exactly that?
No.
I mean, this guy was good in 2015, but that's like 5 years ago. So
that was 6 games.
Unless we're missing something here.
2016, he was a 2.5 WAR. 2019, he was 1.6. That's fine. In only
4.2 ERA. 2018, sub 4 ERA at least. 30 games.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Strikeouts per 9 of 9.
Yeah, it's a high strikeouts per 9.
There's upside. Maybe they see something in them that they can work with.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm interested to see who went back the other way.
Same. It's weird.
Do you want to talk about GT real quick while that still kind of gains traction?
Sure. They had to do that.
The Phillies?
Yeah. You
They
don't hire
something.
Dave Dombrowski to not give out money.
No. And
That's
that's
all
the
he
second best player on their team. Like, you're not letting him walk in free agency. Like, there's nothing behind. Like, who's protecting Bryce at that point? Reese? I don't. I'd much rather have JT Realmuto protecting Bryce Harper than Reese Hoskins.
Congrats to the Phillies, though. They secured 4th place in the NL East.
I mean, realistically, if they didn't sign him, he was going to the Braves, was he not? And the last thing he wanted is him going to a division rival.
It wasn't even there was no market really for JT. It was weird. I guess the Nats.
And then he signed for the biggest catching or biggest contract of a catcher ever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. Like, I don't know. This market's so weird because, like, apparently there's no money out there, but there's a lot of money out there.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. Some guys can't get paid because there's no money out there, but then guys like Trevor Bauer are getting offered Garrett Cole money. It doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
interesting.
On that news, we're way out on Trevor Bauer, and I'm okay with that at that price tag, right?
What is the price tag?
The AAV was the same as Garrett Cole's.
It's like 37. It's 3.
Right.
Apparently, they said they gave him an offer of 3 years with 4 years with multiple opt-outs.
Yeah.
So
I'm not paying him that. I like Trevor Bauer. I think he's a really good pitcher.
I'd give him $335.
Yeah, sure. I don't even know if
I don't know how much.
I don't even know if I do that. It's way too much.
30?
He's had 1 good year.
He's had 2 good years.
2 good years we'll give him. And I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
And 1 was half a season.
Yeah. I think Trevor Bauer can be really good. And I've said that. I would have liked to have Trevor Bauer. But I'm not giving him the most money of any pitcher in baseball on a season and a half of great baseball and a bunch of mediocre.
Joel Sherman just tweeted out, # Blue Jays now have 2 of the more talented, frustrating left-handed pitchers in the majors in Matz and Robbie Ray.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking with, like, maybe they see something like they did with Robbie Ray. Because they helped Robbie Ray a bit. Maybe they can do the same thing with Matz. I don't know. Hopefully he's good. He's going to need a new number.
One of them will be good, right? So one of them will be good, right?
You'd hope, I think. You flip a coin, one side has to come up.
Yeah. Maybe you have enough of these 4 or 5 guys. You'd hope one pans out. I think that's the
I think that they would then sign now like a Walker Odorizzi, hopefully.
Do you want 1 loony or 4 quarters?
Honestly.
I think they've got 10. I think they've got 10 dimes now.
Yeah. Fuck that. They got.
That's exactly what's going on here.
No, they got 4 out of
25 nickels.
They got 4 out of circulation pennies. What do you mean?
I don't know, man. It's interesting.
Man.
I think that's it. I don't think we need to. Yeah.
I think that's everything. Yeah.
Trade any significant prospects back to the Mets.
If they do, we cry in private.
Basically. But that's it for this week. We'll catch you guys next week where we talk a lot of the Super Bowl. Until then, see you guys. Peace.